I collected $6,330 in dividends in the first quarter alone, more than $2,000 a month on just a small part of my portfolio. It's not quite enough to live off yet, mostly because of my kids' expensive food habit.
I'm hungry.
It's always something, but that monthly dividend check is enough to pay for our cell plans, car payment, and utilities, with a little left over to buy my kids love for one more month. The truth is, you can live off your dividends, but it's not as easy as some of the videos you'll see on YouTube make it seem. We're getting started, but before we do, you know I've got to send that special shout out to all you out there in the Bowtie Nation. Thank you for spending a part of your day to be here. If you're not part of that community yet, just click that little red subscribe button. It's free and you'll never miss an episode. I also want to personally invite you to get the weekly Bowtie, our free weekly newsletter with all the stock market news, strategies, and trends you need to know. Each week before the market opens, I'll show you what I'm watching and the stocks that could highlight the week. It's all totally free, just something I like to do for all you out there in the community, so look for the sign up link below. And I want to start with that biggest mistake investors make trying to live off their dividends, because as you see in this 3-step plan, it can be surprisingly easy to do, but I see so many investors just blow their chance. The problem is, investors think they can just invest $1,000 in any popular dividend stock or market index fund and then live off their dividend checks in a year or two. And this is actually something we looked at recently on the blog, My Stock Market Basics, how much you'd need to invest in some of the most popular dividend stocks out there. And the results did not make for happy investors. For example, at a dividend yield of just 0.5%, you would need to invest over $2.4 million in shares of Apple just to make that $1,000 a month. Even for higher yields, like the 2.4% you get on shares of Ford, you would need to invest over $500,000. So you see these kinds of videos on YouTube promising the fast and easy way to live off your dividends, videos that leave out key details and bait you into watching. Nation, unless you've got $1 million portfolio, you're not retiring off those popular dividend stocks, and you're sure as hell not doing it in a year. And if you've got $1 million portfolio, you're probably already retired watching this from the beach. So here, I want to give you 3 realistic steps to building a dividend portfolio you can live on. 3 steps to snowballing your dividends to the point where you are making thousands a month. And these might not be the easy way out, and it's not going to be what some people want to hear, but they will get you to your financial freedom. First is you want to be investing in dividend growth stocks. Now, these are the companies with a history of not only paying dividends, but increasing that dividend payment. And here you could invest in something like maybe the iShares S&P Dividend Aristocrats Fund. That's ticker NOBL. The fund holds shares of 65 companies with a history of increasing dividends for 25 years or more, some with 4 decades of dividend growth. But the fund itself pays less than a 2% dividend yield, which, increasing or not, means you're not collecting that much in dividends, and you're not living off your dividend payments unless you're living off ramen noodles. What you can do, and this is a great trick you can use with any exchange traded fund, is go to the website for that Dividend Aristocrats Fund. Now, since you know these are some of the best dividend growers in the market, you just need to find a few with those higher dividends to buy. So if you scroll down the page here, you're going to find a complete list of stocks held in the fund. Now, these are the 65 companies in the S&P 500 with more than those 25 years of increasing dividend payments, and some great stocks here like Abbott Labs, Target, and Coca-Cola, many with dividend yields at 3% and higher. Now, I also just finished up a video on the 7 best dividend growth stocks out there, one increasing its dividends by 1,600% over the last 5 years. So look for that link in the description below. Now, this next step isn't going to sound like any great wisdom, but this is the single biggest factor in growing your portfolio. Getting in the habit of investing your money each and every month. Nation, whether it's $50 or $500, how much you invest is actually less important than how often you invest. Imagine 2 investors here, one that gets in the habit of investing just $150 a month. It's this blue line here, and it's not much, but that consistent investment gets them to a portfolio of almost $130,000 at the end of 2 decades. The other investor here, maybe they get gung-ho to start out and invest $5,000, but then just every once in a while after that, they might invest $1,000 here and there, but even worse, sometimes they invest more than they can afford and have to withdraw their money. They never get into that habit, and their portfolio barely grows. Folks, just $150 a month. That's less than 1 mocha coca frappuccino a day, and it will help you build a portfolio you can live on. Now, 2 things to consider here if you're investing those small amounts. One is you absolutely need to invest on an app that doesn't charge any fees. Paying $5 every month will kill your portfolio if you're only buying $100 of stock at a time. You also want to use a platform that allows that fractional share investing. This means that you can invest any amount in any stock, no matter what the share price. Now, most investing apps no longer charge those fees, but I'll leave links in the description to a few that I use. And this third step, before I reveal those 3 critical questions about dividend investing, and this is the easy part here, reinvest your dividends to buy more shares. I love this chart for not only showing the power of reinvesting those dividends into buying more shares, but also the focus on dividend growth stocks. We see 3 portfolios here, each starting with a one-time $1,000 investment. Now, this blue line is a portfolio of all dividend stocks and no reinvestment, doubling to $2,000 after 30 years. The red line then is the same dividend stocks, but then reinvesting your dividends and more than double the growth over the same time. You'd have 4.5 times more than you started just by reinvesting your dividends. But look at this green line. This is not only reinvesting your dividends each time they hit your account, but also that focus on dividend growth stocks that we talked about earlier. You earn almost 9 times your money just by doing those 2 things. Now, there are some investing apps like M1 Finance that will automatically reinvest your dividends for you, or you can just go into your account once every month or every few months and reinvest any cash. It is that easy. Now, you've got that plan for growing a dividend portfolio, but I know there's still a lot of questions out there, so I want to answer 3 of the most common questions I hear about dividend investing and living off your dividends. And the most frequent here is, what if I can't invest that much in stocks? And that's the best part about dividend stocks, is you're going to get that same percentage dividend yield whether you invest $10 or $10,000. One of my favorite dividend growth ETFs here, ticker DGRO, is going to pay you that 2% dividend no matter how much you invest. It doesn't matter how much you invest, you're always going to get that same dividend yield. Of course, the real question people want to ask here is not how much you can invest, but how to grow your portfolio faster, even on that lower income. But there is a solution for that as well. And we've covered some great passive income ideas on the channel before. Easy income ideas that you can spend 5 or 10 hours a week developing into an extra $1,000 a month or even more. Just on that $1,000 a month invested, you can grow your dividend portfolio to over $200,000 in as little as 10 years and then start collecting some serious dividends. I'll link to my 5 favorite passive income ideas in the description below. Make sure you check that out. Another question investors always ask is, how much do I need to invest to live off those dividends? Now, to figure out how much you need to invest, just take the amount you need each month and then divide that by the dividend yield of the stock or the average dividend yield of all the stocks in your portfolio. For example, one of my favorite high yield stocks, New York Community Bank Corp, ticker NYCB, pays a 6.4% dividend yield. So if I need $1,000 a month or $12,000 a year, I take that number, $12,000, divided by the annual yield or 0.064, and find I would need to invest just over $187,000 to earn that much in dividends each year. Because remember, dividend percentages or those yields are always shown as a yearly number. So whatever you need each month, you're going to multiply that by 12 months and then divide that by the dividend yield. And I know, folks, it can seem impossible to build up that kind of money that even pays you $1,000 a month, but you can do this. For most investors, it just means playing around with the numbers just a little bit, finding ways to maybe lower your monthly expenses like cutting back to one car or even moving somewhere with a lower cost of living. You can also find ways to make that passive income, to increase the amount you invest, and then even to supplement your income beyond those dividends. And finally, just looking for higher dividend yielding stocks like NYCB. The third here, and this is a big one, why not just invest in those highest dividend yield stocks? Investors love chasing those highest dividend yield stocks they can find, and it's hard not to get excited about any stock that's going to pay you a 20% dividend. 20% yield, that would earn you $1,000 a month in dividends on a portfolio of just $60,000. The problem is, when you look closer at these, you see most of these extremely high dividend stocks have destroyed investor value over years with shares crashing, wiping out your portfolio before cutting their dividend. Nation, there is nothing wrong with looking for some of those higher dividend yield stocks, and I'll link in the description to the 11 highest paying stocks in each sector. But chasing that dividend yield is a tightrope between high yield and risk, and with some of the highest yielding stocks, you're gonna fall off. If you're gonna invest in any stock or a dividend fund with a yield over 8 or 10%, make sure you diversify across different types of stocks. Here I'm talking about those highest yield companies like MLPs, real estate investment trusts, and BDCs. Investing across at least 10 or 15 dividend stocks is going to help you lower your risk in any single stock, but still keep your yield high. Check out those videos linked in the description below, or click on the video to the right for the dividend stocks with the fastest dividend growth. 7 dividend stocks increasing their payment as much as 1,600%. Don't forget to join the Let's Talk Money community by tapping that subscribe button and clicking the bell notification.